Hello, this is David again, and I am still a grateful recovering addict. Uh, so, I wanted to share today about an experience I had yesterday. Um, I went on a 58-mile bike ride, and I've done several rides that were pretty long. The longest one had been, I think, 42 miles, which was mostly just with small quick breaks. And then yesterday's ride was it was an organized ride. So every 12 to 15 miles, there would be at least a stop for water and restroom, but there was one or two stops that had some snacks and then one stop that had lunch. But something that I did differently yesterday was I decided that I would not listen to my AirPods. Uh, Normally, I listen to like Audible or something when I go out for rides on my own. But yesterday, since I was going as an event, I didn't know anyone, but I just figured, what the hell, it's 4 or 5 hours, I can do it. Well, in that time frame, I really obviously had a lot of time to kind of think and ponder different things. At first, especially at the very beginning when it was somewhat cool, low 70s, and it was comfortable, and a lot of the ride uh, was pretty smooth at the beginning, besides like bumps along the road um, in the first part because the highway was like poorly paved. But uh, I slowly, as I kept going further and further, thinking back, I was like, wow, this really kind of reminds me about life in general and anything specifically. So uh, anything that one could consider a problem, uh, which I've spoken about and will continue to speak about, is turning that around and seeing it as an opportunity. Um, you know, Life always is compelling to growth. So as I was going along, it was like it was easy, but there were like little annoying bumps. Not a big deal. Uh, but then it started getting warmer and warmer. You know, the 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 breaks were kind of nice. And some of the things that I was thinking about, especially towards the end, when the sun was like beaming overhead, and I was really hot, and realized I hadn't brought my sunscreen. Um, and then the hills started coming, and without my AirPods to kind of take me out, like I was stuck in a situation to kind of endure and find a way to make it work, and uh, in that same right, I was thinking the AirPods kind of take me away, are a way to kind of get me out of something, and it's hardly comparable to drugs, but at the same time, it's just wanting to kind of shift my thoughts. But um, I believe that it was kind of some particular growth yesterday, just because I was able to kind of make it through and be aware of those thoughts. And some of the points that were specifically uh, made for me were, first of all, about endurance and preparation, and that, you know, by having practiced before, by having, on very flat areas, trees and canopies, when life was more simpler and I was able to coast along, it was those times when I was really working on making my body and my mind kind of receptive and able to endure what was to come yesterday. So, those times that seem, everything's just flowing along, it's a great opportunity to really dive into, growth and personal development, so that when the times do get tough, when the hills come, you're able to at least keep up. And so that was another point that I enjoyed to myself, was about keeping cadence. And that means that my dad taught me this when I was super young and didn't want to go up a hill. And he taught me how to downshift and just keep the pedals moving. And even if I'm just crawling along up the hill, if I just keep the pedals at a pace that's not, too strenuous, then I'll make it, you know? I don't have to go and just crawl and use all this muscle and it hurts. That doesn't usually always work. And plus, I might need that energy later. So I kind of found that as a great metaphor at you know, finding your pace, but keeping it going, getting through the challenge, whatever the hills are that come up. Because like yesterday, I got over one hill and I was like, relief. And then I look ahead and it's another hill. It was like rolling hills. But, at the same time, there was a little bit of brief relief when I got to go down the hill. And also, it allowed me to kind of coast and go fast to get to that next one. I don't know about a metaphor there, but and the last point that I noted for myself, at least, that I wasn't in this as a race. At times people pass me, at times I pass people, and in fact, at times people pass me, then I pass them, and then they pass me again over a course of 58 miles. Ultimately, I kept a pace that kept me going, kept me semi comfortable, but at the same time, pushing it. I wanted to push it, but I wanted to make it more than anything. And so I feel like that's another point that's important is keeping in mind that life isn't a race. And the ultimate battle is truly between you and you. And so make sure that you're, you know, keeping yourself on your toes but at least getting through it, and getting to the other side, because that's where the growth is. So there's a lot of other great points to consider. I'll leave it at this for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll look forward to sharing more with you next time.